Well, all right.
Welcome back to As It Should Be. Paul Bertolino here in the world famous As It Should Be Studios.
That's where we're at.
Yeah. Crystal Durant in the world famous As It Should Be Studios. Tommy Von Voigt in the world famous As It Should Be Studios.
Ba-dum-ts.
Here we come. Yeah, we're going to be discussing our favorite drummers. Yeah. Yep, that's right. And that's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I wonder if that's right.
Let's find out. It's all going to be all right because I start. I got the list. I got the list and I got it right here.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, I have 3 honorable mentions. Jim Keltner. The great Jim Keltner, you know, total behind the scenes dude, who really should be on the list. In fact, as should be my next honorable mention, Hal Blaine, for fuck's sake. You kidding me?
I mean,
Yeah.
But I decided to put the behind the scenes guys down in the honorable mentions because there's just too many band drummers that I just love too much that I couldn't leave them off for the likes of Hal Blaine, even though Hal Blaine absolutely should be on the list. But my top honorable mention is somebody who isn't a great drummer, but absolutely deserves to be mentioned for a myriad of reasons. Tori Castellano. Donna C.
yes.
Donna C.
I think she's kick-ass. I do. I think she's a kick-ass drummer.
You know, she's a great drummer in her own way. She like drumming snobs would be like, but it's one of those things where she's just great in her own way, in a particular way that completely works in that context.
There's something so pure and almost animalistic about the way she plays.
She's literally like Animal.
Yeah.
It's
It's awesome to watch.
Yeah. But anyway, so on to my number 10. Alex Van Halen.
Yes.
Forever underrated because of his brother. In fact, I'm underrating him myself right now because I'm putting him nearly at number 10.
He really is so good.
Yeah. Great. So
And
great.
so we're shooting this on a Saturday. 2 days from now, on Monday,
Uh-oh.
I know, and I'm not going to be able to go.
he has his book coming out, and he's doing an in-store here. I am there.
Where?
I am so there. I already purchased the book.
Where?
At the 5th Ave Barnes & Noble.
Oh, I'm going.
Yeah.
Would they allow it if I is there any way I get you to have a book signed for me in absentia? Would they allow that? Do they even do that kind of thing? Or is that like a
when
no-no?
I go there, I'll check and see if I can purchase an extra book on the spot.
Yeah, because I Venmo'd you for it.
And then just say it's for my brother Tommy. How's he gonna?
Yeah,
Something like
I'll say
that,
I didn't
yeah.
realize. I didn't realize when I bought this that I wanted 2, but I wanted to get another one for my friends. Can I do that?
Yeah, I'm not
I
gonna
can't
be in
imagine
town.
they're going to be like, no, do
You know
not
what?
give us your money.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
I would adore that. I'm not
do
going
it.
to
This is
be
for my brother,
available.
Tommy. I'll do it.
Otherwise, I would totally go.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
You gonna go?
Yeah, I'm in.
You're in. All right,
Yeah.
all right. Well, you get okay. Well, now get on. We're having a big long.
Oh, sorry.
I might have to cut some of this out. Get online because this is one of those where you don't just queue up. You have to buy the book in advance.
Oh, all right.
It's kind of like it's almost like a ticketed thing in that regard.
in that way,
All it
okay.
costs is the price of the book.
Okay.
But yeah, so you have to show up there already like
With it.
RSVP.
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Gotcha.
All right. Got
So
it.
look it up.
Okay.
All right, and just basically I'm bringing it up because I'm totally freaking out. Like I can't fucking like it's one of those like holy shit. I might shit my pants when I'm in the presence of Alex
It's
Van Halen.
Alex
you know?
Van Halen.
Yeah. Okay, but anyway, all right. Number 9. Number 9. John Densmore.
Oh yeah.
John Densmore. I have notes here. Jazz drummer in a rock band. He's an essential cog in the Doors machinery. Without him, the Doors would be an entirely different band. Because the thing about the Doors is people always think about them as being all about Jim Morrison. Like, I think a lot of people think you could just put Morrison in front of any of the 3 guys and you have the Doors.
No.
You replace any one of those 4 guys and you have a whole different band.
Yep, it doesn't work.
And in fact, I would go so far as to say that the band is altered the least by the lack of Morrison out of the four of them.
Oh yeah.
Because when if you put on one of those Post Morrison albums, when that first song comes on, before the vocal comes in, you're like,
Doors.
yeah, that's the Doors.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely the Doors. But if you had no John Densmore and you put on a Doors album, who the fuck's this?
Nope.
Oh, that guy's kind of trying to be Ray Manzarek, but that's not the Doors.
Right.
Yeah, the same way with Robbie Krieger, and obviously the same with Ray
Yep.
Manzarek.
No,
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. Number 8, Karen Carpenter. Yeah. Now, she was a straight-up jazz drummer who just happened to get into pop. She unfortunately never got her due in her lifetime. I feel like people are only recently really starting to recognize how badass she was on The Kid.
Oh, she tore that shit up.
Yeah, there's all these videos.
Only because these videos are coming around.
Yeah,
so
because
young
of all these
people,
YouTube videos.
Yeah. Now
And the
they
thing
know.
is, in the 70s, as aware of the Carpenters as I was, I just knew the radio hits. I didn't have the records, and I never they would have TV specials and stuff, and I didn't watch them.
Oh,
And she
yeah.
would do drum solos on those, but I never saw those.
Oh really?
You know, they would have Christmas
Oh, yeah,
specials and
yeah.
the whole thing. I just never saw those at the time. But now that stuff's all over YouTube. Do look it up. Karen Carpenter just kicking ass on the drums. My number 7. Now, I do need to say this, like I did with the guitarists and maybe the other ones. Kind of take a little of my order with a grain of salt, because I find ranking players way tougher than ranking albums. Way tougher than ranking albums.
Yeah.
So, again, repeat, grain of salt. My number 7, Roy McDonald. Roy McDonald was the drummer of both Red Cross and the Muffs. Now, he was in Red Cross in '87. He was pretty much was only on this album until he reunited with them in 2012. But he's on this album, and then he joined the Muffs for their second album. And he joined the Muffs because Kim used to see him in Red Cross and was a huge fan of his drumming, and it was like her dream to have him in the Muffs. So when they got rid of their original drummer, ultimately, you know, our friend Jim was in the Muffs for a little while.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of did a stint with them, and ultimately they settled on Roy because Kim really just wanted Roy, and that's exactly the band he should have been in. Like, he was great in Red Cross, but the Muffs was his band, like the band he should have been in. Totally kicked ass. The thing I love about Roy is that he's one of those Keith Moonish kind of drummers. He's like one of those chaotic, like, you know, but he's really, really rock solid, but he's like kind of guys, and I am a sucker for that. So, yeah. All right, so number 6, Mitch Mitchell. Yeah. Speaking of Keith Moon, if Keith Moon was a jazz player, he'd be Mitch Mitchell. Plain and simple, yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. Number 5, the man who he wore this shirt. There were 2 drummers who wore the shirt I'm wearing, but this one also wore the shirt that Tommy's wearing. John Bonham.
Yes.
Yeah. Now he's more of a subconscious favorite and a subconscious influence. Meaning, like, I recognize how great he is, and every time I think about his parts, I'm like, God damn. Mm-hmm. But I never really, when I think about the drummers that I really love, his name doesn't always readily come to mind, except for the obvious fact that you kind of almost have to have John Bonham on your list.
Yeah.
You know, but he really is great. But again, I feel like he was like a subconscious influence on me as a drummer. Now, don't get me wrong, I am no fucking John Bonham as a drummer, but I would notice really early on when I was playing, I would be doing stuff with bands or trying out things, I would, not even thinking about it, subconsciously do these John Bonham kind of things, and it's just because that music, you listen to Led Zeppelin growing up, and that stuff just gets deep in there, and you don't even realize, and you're regurgitating it. Mm-hmm. I had my friend Sean. He might be watching. My friend Sean, he and our friend Clint had this band that they put together called Art Pumpkin. Because Sean was writing these lyrics, and Clint was a musician, and he liked the lyrics, so he's like, let's put something together. He wrote these songs, and Sean was singing, and I was hanging out with them one day, and they wanted to record a couple songs, so I sat at the kit and kind of learned the songs, and we recorded, and I came up with my own part, and just without thinking about it, for this song, Morticia, he's like, okay, this is just the tempo of this, here's how the guitar goes, okay, and I just went, And I wasn't thinking. The last thing on my mind was John Bonham or Led Zeppelin.
It just came
it's
out.
just in there.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Anyway, so that's a whole long story that that's just basically
It's a
about how
testament to
John Bonham is just he's in the air. He's everywhere. Yeah. All right. But number 4, James Gatson. Oh man, James Gatson. Okay, James Gatson. He kind of started in the '60s, but he didn't come into prominence until the early '70s when he started playing with Bill Withers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And he's like this really great kind of smooth groove drummer. Okay, now there is this video on YouTube that I think I've talked about it before when we've talked about other things in other contexts, but I urge you to go online and look up Bill Withers on the Old Grey Whistle Test in 1972 doing Ain't No Sunshine.
Ooh.
Not only is that an incredible version, but if you watch that with the sound off, you know that James Gatson is fucking kicking ass. Without sound, you're like, oh damn, that guy. Yeah, James Gatson is the coolest drummer ever. He's just sitting there with his sunglasses on, just going. And you're just like, oh
Totally
damn.
into it.
It doesn't even matter what he sounds like. He looks amazing doing it, but he does sound great too. James Gatson is really, really great. Number 3, and yes, he's only at number 3. Ringo, the ultimate songs drummer. Period. Number 2. What else do I need to fucking say about Ringo? I mean, come on. Except for that anybody that says he wasn't even the best drummer in the Beatles and that he was lucky and all that.
Fuck
You don't know anything
You
about
don't know
music.
anything about
I had
drumming.
this conversation on the ride home from the gig last night with my drummer Salchi, and we were talking about this list, and we were talking about Ringo, and we both agreed anybody that comes for Ringo is just telling you they don't know what the fuck
That's
they're
what
talking
they're talking
about.
about.
Yeah, I don't know anything about music.
Period.
It's written on their
That's how
forehead.
they're just saying it in
Yeah.
a different
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yep.
But number 2, somebody from a band I believe somebody from this band has made almost every single list so far. And this is no exception. Danny Seraphine
Oh
from
my
Chicago.
God. Yeah.
Man, that guy. Okay. What did I write here? I wrote, okay, one of the most versatile drummers in the rock pop world, in my opinion. Chicago was one of those bands who pretty much tackled anything and everything, and Danny carried through all of it effortlessly. He can play in that chaotic Keith Moon style, he can play jazz, he can play Latin rhythms, you name it. But it's his motorboat style that really gets me where I live. He does it. In fact, there's a track called Motorboat to Mars on Chicago 3 that's just a drum solo. And, it's no freeform guitar, let me tell you that. It's actually good. It's actually good.
Ouch.
Yeah. So Danny Seraphine, yeah, I have him at number 2.
Danny Seraphine.
But my number 1, I mean,
Paul McCartney?
you're not going to be shocked. You're not going to be stunned. Of course, Keith Moon is my number 1 drummer. Yeah, what are you talking about?
Hello?
Now, Keith Moon, I can see where that can be a little polarizing because I think people probably think, oh, Keith Moon, he's sloppy and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he kind of is, and I also believe that he's not very versatile. Like, I don't think you could put him in the Beatles and that he would be able to do his job. I don't.
No, because they weren't chaotic enough.
But yeah, so in a way, he kind of is in this tiny little box. But that's my favorite little box
it's a
ever.
great box.
Number 1, and number 2, he basically invented that. Like, before Keith Moon, there was nobody who was just like the crazy animal drummer. After him, there's been a gazillion of them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could talk about, jazz drummers and everything. That's a different bag. I'm talking about in this context, like total
Rock and roll.
coming unhinged.
He was a surf music drummer that
was a
wasn't in a
surf
surf
music drummer.
band.
Yeah,
It's
he
basically
loved
what it
surf
is.
music.
Yeah.
That's where he came from. But he was just like the Muppet version of a surf music
Yeah.
drummer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Keith Moon, naturally. All right.
That's a great list.
Great news. All
I like that list.
All right.
That's
And
good.
there's some great commercials right here.
Nobody decides to be a drummer.
Ralph, please.
You just find yourself drumming.
Ralph, please.
It doesn't make you instantly popular,
Ralph, please.
and no one asks you to play their favorite tunes.
Ralph, please.
But with endless practice
Ralph, please.
and fanatical persistence,
Ralph,
drumming isn't just noise anymore. And you're not the only one who thinks so. When a lifetime of work has gone into playing a piece of music, Pioneer thinks you should hear all of it. So we design our high-fidelity components not to add anything or take anything away. That's why we've become #1 today with people who care about music. Pioneer, we bring it back alive.
All right, Tommy.
Indeed. Hello.
Come on, Tommy.
I bet you like some drummers.
What's up
I
with?
do like some drummers. So I have some honorable mentions.
Honorable.
Honorable. Up first, I've got Nick Menza from the second lineup of Megadeth. This is known as the Rust in Peace lineup.
I thought you said Mike Menza.
No.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
know,
like,
but
what?
he sounds like Mensa.
No,
we know a drummer named Mensa.
Yeah, no, and this is Nick Menza, the drummer
Okay.
from the second official lineup, the second classic era lineup of Megadeth.
Okay.
There's two lineups of Megadeth that matter. There's the first lineup from the first couple albums, and then there's the Rust in Peace Countdown to Extinction lineup starting in 89, 90, and Nick Menza was the drummer for the second lineup. My next honorable mention, Gar Samuelson, the drummer from Megadeth for the first lineup of Megadeth. Gar, yeah, Gar Samuelson.
Samuelson, oh.
Next on my honorable mentions, I've got AJ Pero, Twisted Sister.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, actually, I'm sorry. Twisted Fucking Sister. My thank you.
Yes.
Next, we have Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden.
Who, what? Nico McBrain.
Nico McBrain from Iron Maiden.
That's his real name?
Yeah,
Yeah.
McBrain?
McBrain.
Yep.
Wow.
Then we have Eric Carr, the best drummer that Kiss ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would agree.
And then we have Bobby Rock, the drummer from the Vinnie Vincent Invasion, later the drummer for Nelson. I fucking love this guy's work.
I know the name, but I don't know. I don't really know his stuff.
Oh,
Or
he's
his
fantastic. He's fantastic. And then my final honorable mention, Trey Cool from Green Day.
He's a
Criminally
really great
underrated.
drummer, yeah.
Fantastic drummer.
True.
Yeah. What's fascinating about those guys is just they are way more versatile musically than anyone even gives them credit for. There's a clip recently I saw where Michael Anthony from Van Halen comes out and joins them on stage, and they do "Ain't Talking About Love."
This is recent?
This was recently, maybe a couple years ago, I think.
Wow.
And so Trey's playing Alex's parts, Billy Joe is playing Eddie's parts.
Yeah.
Solos and all?
Yes,
Everything.
the riffs,
Oh, well, the solo just for that is-
yeah, but nailing all that shit.
Wow.
And then with the way they did it is Michael Anthony sang lead for the first half of the song, and Billy Joe sang the high Michael Anthony harmony. And then they switched it, and then Billy Joe sings the lead, and Michael Anthony
does the
is
high-
doing that. Yeah, it's
Wow.
wild.
That
it's
sounds pretty
wild.
cool.
I want to see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
All right, so now on to my actual list.
Live.
And as we've talked about before when we do these musician ranking lists, these are very subjective. They are very influenced, in many cases, by the body of work that the musician put out, not necessarily based purely on skill. If you base it purely on skill, these lists, by rights, would be nothing but insane jazz and death metal drummers who have chops that you can't even comprehend, but
Right.
you might not like the music they record.
Yeah.
So this can't really truly ever be objective.
Yeah.
But my number 10, Jeff Porcaro.
Jeff.
Well, you're not going to find a shortage of people who are going to have him on their list.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, come on. You know.
I mean, if you know about drums, you fuck with Jeff Porcaro, man. My number 9, of course I have Hal Blaine.
Yeah.
Obviously I
mean,
do.
If you like anything that was recorded basically before 1979, chances are Hal Blaine's
Hal
playing
Blaine
on
was
that
on
track.
Yeah, and if you like anything that was recorded after 1979 up to when he died, then maybe Jeff Porcaro was on the track.
Yeah.
My number 8, Carmine Appice.
Yes. Carmine.
I fucking love Carmine.
Love him.
I bet he's probably an abominable human being. I would never want to meet him. He seems like he'd probably be obnoxious beyond belief.
Yeah.
But God, I just love him when he's behind the drums, man.
He's
I
love that guy. I love that guy. I'm watching old footage of him, Vanilla Fudge, and she's just back there. He's
Vanilla
like,
fucking fudge.
He's just crouching down and holding the stick over his head, like all dramatic and shit.
Even when he was playing with Rod Stewart, seeing him live with Rod Stewart, which was mostly disco.
Oh, but he killed it with
he
Rod.
Crushed it.
Yeah.
And then I love his
So
shit
great.
that he did in the 80s. He had the gig with Ozzy briefly for like a week.
Oh, I know about that.
Oh, yeah, for like a week. And then like the egos clashed. Like Sharon tried saying some shit to him and Carmine's like, fuck you, I'm Carmine. So that ended. And then he put together King Cobra, a band that neither of you are going to want to fuck with, but I fuck with King Cobra hard. It was Carmine's hair metal band.
Oh,
maybe,
really?
maybe you're down with
I
King
remember
Cobra.
it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I love his work. I even love it. The movie he did. What the Black Roses? Do you remember Black Roses from 1988? It's about this this heavy metal band that comes to this small town to prep for a tour. So they're going to do some gigs in a small town in the middle of nowhere, and then all the kids are all freaking out to go check out this band, and they all start coming under their demonic influence because they're actually demons.
Demons. Oh,
They're actually demons. So so the band is like all of the parents and the people in charge of the community come to the first show, and the band comes out and they're singing this pretty song. We're on our way to paradise, and everyone's like, "Oh, these guys are fine. This is nothing to worry about." So they leave,
parents leave,
and the doors get barred, and all of a sudden it comes to fucking crazy metal, and the kids are going crazy, and Carmine is the fucking drummer. Yes, yeah.
Wow, I want to
That sounds
see
pretty
that.
great.
It's so much fun. All right, so my number 7, of course, fucking Ringo.
Yeah.
Of course, I have Ringo on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My number 6, Neil Peart. Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back around to Neil Peart when we get to my least favorites list, because the influence he had has not always been positive.
Well,
will
I
just-
mean, yeah,
I'll put it
kind of
there-
like with Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah, I'll put it that way for now.
Yeah.
Yes. But Neil Peart, obviously incredible. My number 5, Tommy Aldridge.
Tommy
Oh,
Aldridge.
you know
yeah.
about Tommy Aldridge, man.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo-hoo. Are you overly familiar? Actually, I already know you are. You already at Black
Yeah.
Oak, Arkansas.
Oh, yeah,
And then he
yeah.
had the Ozzy gig, and then he was in White Snake.
Yeah.
My God, that dude.
That guy's skinnier than I am, and he's the hardest hitter ever.
He is still the hardest hitter ever. You could see him putting out new videos on YouTube, like to this day. First of all, he's like 80, still has the goddamn
Same hair. Yeah.
and is
Really?
still back there, devastating.
Really?
He has not fucking lost a drop of his ability or his stamina. He is
Wow.
a monster.
Well, I told you I saw him drumming for Ted Nugent. I saw Ted Nugent open for Kiss, and Tommy Aldridge was the drummer. He's
That
up
must have
there,
been awesome.
no shirt on, and this is the 90s. And he just fucking absolutely nailed it. He was straight off of a video. I'm watching
yeah.
a fucking video.
Oh yeah,
You know.
he is truly inspirational to see.
Yeah,
him
yeah,
play.
he's-
He really is. My number 4. This is a guy that gets a lot of shit, and the shit he gets is because he's just herpes on legs, and the band he is in is a whole conversation.
I already know who this is. It's got to be.
Tommy Lee.
Oh God, he's herpes on legs.
As a drummer, I fucking love Tommy Lee.
Oh,
I think
God.
Tommy Lee is so underrated.
I agree with
doesn't
you.
get
he's a
enough
perfectly
respect
fine
as a
drummer, but
drummer.
everything else that goes with that is
I
just
know. It's
so
all the baggage that comes with him.
that it just makes it so tough.
I know, but I think he's
But
fantastic.
you know.
I think he's fantastic. To me, the crew was Mick and Tommy. That's the crew.
I agree.
Mick and Tommy.
Yeah.
My number 3, Alex goddamn Van Halen. Holy crap. Totally overshadowed, understandably, and let's be honest, justifiably, by his brother Eddie.
Yeah.
And at last, not underrated.
Yeah.
I think that Alex might finally be getting his due. Alex used to get shit on by a lot. I would see a lot of people who should know better shit on, say Alex sucks. Alex, his tone is, his drum tone is crap. His snare tone sucks. Blah 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 blah. Like, motherfuckers, you listening? Van Halen does not work without Alex's approach to those songs. And the shit he would do, so creative and so unorthodox. Just listen to what he's doing during the solo in Jump. Like, who the fuck thinks of that?
Yeah.
Fantastic player. My number 2, Clem Burke from Blondie.
Yes.
I toyed with putting him on my list.
Love Clem Burke.
Yeah.
Love Clem Burke. So creative, so much fun. What he's putting into pop music, so good. But my number 1, obviously, is John Bonham. has to be John Bonham for me. I mean,
Okay.
it's magical. John Bonham's
Yeah,
magical.
I mean, how could you not?
Yeah.
That's fine.
How could you not?
Uh-oh.
No, I'm not mad at
okay.
it at all. I'm like, yeah, John
Okay.
Bonham, yeah.
Now, because you got a little bit of that, I'm
Well,
coming
what,
for
John
you.
Bonham's
tell
almost
me.
like
No.
well, it's almost like Ringo. It's just kind of like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
I know, and you know, and I'll
yeah.
tell you what, I kind of struggled a little bit with this list because at least half of my list, I'm like, well, yeah, of course I would have that on my list, and I didn't want it to come across like I didn't try hard enough, but these are the ones for me.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? Like throw somebody from some obscure band just to like show how cool you are? Or
I'm
whatever,
not trying
like,
to
you gotta-
flex on people.
No,
like
that's the coolest. Just your coolest.
I could-
You know,
Yeah,
that
yeah. You don't
That
know
guy.
coolest from
No
Tommy.
coolest
but
from
yeah,
Tommy.
I mean, you got to be real.
I could sit here
Tommy
and I
likes
could
to be
rattle
real.
off 50 different fucking drummers that you've never heard of that are probably every bit as amazing as some of these, just because I want to, flex my knowledge. But that's not what this is about. These are the people that stick out to me.
Sorry.
So, but anyway, that's me.
All right.
Excellent
I love
list.
praise.
We'll be right back after these messages.
This new light beer from Miller is everything you've always wanted in a beer, and less. It's less filling because it has less carbohydrates and 1/3 less calories than their regular beer. I don't think I drank all this beer myself. The cats in the peanut gallery polished off a few. But at last, there's a great tasting beer that's less filling. Now, the next thing they come up with will be electric drumsticks, and I'll be out of a gig.
New Light. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
I've been into classic things all my life. Classic rings, hello. Classic clothing, classic hairdos, classic good looks, classic news. Being such a class act, I must tell you about Sun Country Classic Wine Cooler. It's new, crystal clear, dry and delicious. Sun Country Classic. Hey, it's classy, just like me. Bear's got a big nose, doesn't he? But I love it.
All right. It's Krista's list.
Yeah. So, I got a lot of people on my...
I'm shocked. I'm stunned.
Yeah, I watch these shows just like you guys do, and when I watch them, it's way after we tape them, and I see the faces that are made, and I hear the snide comments under your breath.
Well, your hearing's a lot better than mine. You hear them when we're actually here.
I'm gonna do that. I'm doing.
I don't.
what
The
want.
comments you guys make, I don't hear until I'm fucking editing.
Yeah.
And he's editing the episodes. He's like, those motherfuckers said what?
What? Yeah. So my runners-up list has a lot of people on it, and I'm not going to apologize. Travis Barker, the guys that he's like what's his face from whatchamacallit, who's underrated. Green Day.
Green Day, yeah.
Yeah. That guy is a really great drummer.
Oh, he's
Hip-hop,
incredible.
blah, blah, blah. He's really awesome. Chris Dave, who is D'Angelo's drummer. Buddy Guy. Meg White. Say what you want about Meg White. I don't give a fuck. What I enjoy about Meg White is that the equivalent to her in the art world would be somebody that they would call like a primitive artist. She's a primitive drummer in a lot of ways to people, and she sucks and she doesn't know what she's doing. She was perfect for what was happening with Jack White.
Yeah, no, I put her in, for me, even though she's nothing like her, I put her in with like the Donna C world, where a lot of people could point out why she's not great, but for what she was doing and what she was supposed to do, she fucking killed it.
She was great.
I will say Donna C wipes the floor with Meg White, but that being said,
I mean, I'm not putting
I'm
them.
not even
I'm
gonna
not
compare
comparing them
Yeah.
in that way, like who's better. But I mean, there's a category that I kind of put them in.
Yeah.
right.
Of drummers that I think a lot of people would disparage.
Yeah.
But
Well, people would come for Meg White because they're going for something what they would perceive as low-hanging fruit. But if you get what the White Stripes are about, and I don't even like the White Stripes, but I get what they're supposed to be, you need her.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
She's
and
perfect.
Jack White defends her.
To the
defends
nth
the
degree.
shit
He said
out
it
of her.
wouldn't
He
be
will
anything
not.
without her.
Yeah, he will not hear criticism of Meg
Yeah,
White.
and he's not wrong. And that's a guy who has a band full of women. All right, so then I've got Jerome Bigfoot Bailey and Ramon Tiki Fullwood, who are both in Parliament Funkadelic at different times. Buddy Rich, George Hurley of the Minutemen, who was a jazz guy who wound up playing punk. He was really great. Ringo Starr, of course. Again, what they already said, if you come for Ringo, you don't know anything about music. And I'll just start with Lefty playing on a right-handed kit. Fuck you if you don't know what that is. Charlie Watts, Tommy Ramone, Phil Rudd, Bill Ward, Bill Bruford from King Crimson, Butch Trucks, and J-Mo Johnson from the Allman Brothers. Oh, so great. Mick Avery from the Kinks, Greg Errico from Sly and the Family Stone, Dave Garibaldi from Tower of Power. Wow! Wow. Just listen to What Is Hip. Let's see. Oh, and he was sampled to death in the 80s. He's all over Paul's Boutique, Beastie Boys record. Jerry Allison from Buddy Holly and the Crickets, Phil Collins, Terry Bozzio, Josh Freese from Devo, Earl Hudson from Bad Brains, Michael Shreve from Santana, Pete Thomas from Elvis Costello, James Diamond Williams from the Ohio Players. Wow. Joseph Zigaboo Modaliste from The Meters, Manu Katché from Peter Gabriel and Sting, Max Weinberg, Carmine, Amir Thompson, Alex Van Halen, Billy Cobham, fusion drumming, Bitches Brew. He was in the Mahavishnu Orchestra. He influenced Prince, Phil Collins, and Danny Carey from Tool, Jim Keltner, Gene Krupa, Jeff Beccaro from Toto. He played on Beat It and Keep Forgetting as well. Fred Below, he was the drummer for Chess Records. He's on everything in Chess Records. Chuck Berry, Howlin' Wolf, whatever. Tony Allen from Fela. James Gadsden, he was on Dancing Machine, Let's Get It On, and I Want You. Roger Hawkins was all over Muscle Shoals, Land of a Thousand Dances, I'll Take You There, When a Man Loves a Woman, all that. Carlton from Bob Marley and the Wailers, Earl Palmer, Little Richard, Steve Gadd, 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover. He played on The Hustle. He played on Asia. Elvin Jones with John Coltrane, Quartet, Ginger Baker, Karen Carpenter, Bernard Purdy. Let's see. Tony Williams, John Bonham, Benny Benjamin, Stuart Copeland, Hal Blaine, and Neil Peart is the way that you pronounce his name properly?
Peart. Yeah, I always say Pert, but it's Peart.
It's Peart. So.
Yeah. People has always said Pert, but I think only in recent times have we kind of been corrected.
Yeah.
It is Peart, yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
All right, so here's my list. Coming in at number 10, I have... That's fine.
But it wasn't, in fact, fine. Crystal was quite upset.
We'll give it 30 more seconds so we can laugh.
Yeah, we'll be far enough removed from it.
Yeah.
Okay, right now it's too soon.
It's too soon.
Okay.
Too soon.
So, who was number 10?
You good?
Hi.
Okay. All right, number 10, J.R. Robinson. He played on all of Off the Wall for Michael Jackson, the Pointer Sisters, So Excited, Chaka Khan's Ain't Nobody. He was a very ubiquitous and utilitarian R&B drummer throughout the 70s and the 80s. All the major hits you've heard him on. He was great. Number 9, I have Steve Jordan. He played, he was in the Expensive Winos with Keith Richards. He played with Stevie Wonder. He did jazz fusion. He toured with Eric Clapton and Neil Young. But the best thing that I think he ever did was a sketch on Saturday Night Live when Eddie Murphy was on, and the song was called Kill the White People.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Where they played this Jamaican band, and he played drums on that. It was fucking hysterical.
Kill the
White people, oh, yeah. We're gonna make them hurt. So good. All right, at number 8, I have Earl Young. So Earl Young, through people I've talked to, was basically the inventor of 4 on the Floor disco. So the Harold Melvin and the Blue Note song, The Love I Lost, that was the first song to have that, where 4 beats of the bar were played on the kick drum. So he played with OJs, the Spinners, the Tramps, was his band, the Tramps. And he, you know, he invented a whole genre, and he was amazing and really great to see live. He was really good. Coming in at number 7, I have Sly Dunbar from Sly and Robbie.
And the Family Dunbar.
The Family Dunbar. He started playing drums when he was 15. He was in the Upsetters. He played with Peter Tosh, Black Uhuru, and he toured on the Rolling Stones Some Girls tour. Really, really great. just and underrated too. And he and Robbie, all the Grace Jones shit, My Jamaican Guy, just killer. They went on to be great producers on their own. Coming in at number 6, I have Ronald Shannon Jackson. He played with Ornette Coleman, Bill Laswell, Sonny Sharrock in Last Exit, Cecil Taylor. He formed the Decoding Society. If you don't know anything about 80s jazz fusion shit, listen to the Decoding Society. They're amazing. Vernon Reid played guitar, and the bass player was Melvin Gibbs. And they were fucking fantastic. Coming in at number 5, I have Cindy Blackman. A lot of people only know her from playing with Lenny Kravitz. She's been married to Carlos Santana for the past 5-10 years, whatever it is, plays in his band. Her solo shit is really, really great. She's a jazz background person. But she can play anything and play the fuck out of it. She's woefully underrated. People ignore her left and right, I feel, and she is really, really good. If you ever get the chance to see her live, please go see her. She's amazing and a really super nice person, too. I love her as a person. Coming in at number 4, I have Tony Thompson from Chic, who kind of, he's all over the 80s. And I don't want to say that he invented a style or a feel, but he kind of did with Chic. I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. He was in Power Station. He played on Addicted to Love. He played on Like a Virgin. He was at one point considered a replacement for John Bonham when they were going to redo Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then they checked with Robert Plant.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And it didn't happen. But Tony Thompson he's a really great drummer. Coming in at number 3, I have Sheila E. Another incredible drummer who can play any fucking thing. Anything. First of all, you're in Prince's band. You got your own family thing, the Escovedo family.
Sure.
Then you got you're in Prince's band. Then you're in Ringo Starr's All-Star Band for 10,000 years. And you're playing behind everybody from those different eras and genre. Again, if you ever get the chance to see her live, run, don't walk to see her. Because she is killing up to this minute, up to this very day. She still is an incredible drummer and woefully underrated because she's a woman and because she's not white. I'm saying it. Same with Cindy Blackman. She gets ignored. And I bring these up in conversations with white guy musicians I know, and they're like, Sheila who? Cindy who?
Well, that's silliness. Really? Come on.
I'm not kidding.
These can't not possibly be musicians you're talking
these are not
to.
serious musicians you're talking to.
These are people that I know, some people that you know, people I've known throughout my life since the 80s. I'm dead ass serious.
Well, when we go to commercial break, whatever you do, please don't give us all their names.
I won't give you any of their names or phone numbers or addresses. Coming in at number 2, I have Keith Moon. Keith Moon. What I really enjoy about Keith Moon is that, like we said in the other episode, he's playing lead guitar but on drums.
Yeah.
While there's a lead guitarist and a lead bassist who's playing like a lead guitarist. And but the best part of Keith Moon in a lot of the songs is that he puts a different fill in the same song, and it works.
Well, every time he comes around to the same section, he doesn't play it the same.
Yeah. It's genius. And he's, just like a crazy mess. But it worked. It really, I love Keith Moon, as everybody knows, because The Who's the best band in the world. And coming in at number 1, oh my God, it's a tie.
Oh wait, how are we gonna do this?
Oh, wait till you see when you watch this in the shade that was on her face.
Whatever.
What are we? Congas?
That is a tie between John Jabo Starks and Clyde Stubblefield. They both played drums for James Brown. The end.
And they both were on the one.
All over the one.
They were both on the one.
And I talked about the one last time with Lucy Collins.
Those were dudes who were the masters of the one.
And everybody, yeah, sampled to death. Anybody who plays R&B, that's
like
it.
you said, they played for James Brown. I mean, that's
That's enough.
End of sentence.
Yeah, that's enough. So that is my list.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
With a built-in computer, new Sensonics drums means you can play like a pro, even if you've never played before.
Get the best gifts at the Target 2-Day sale. Friday and Saturday only.
Let's go!
Doors open Friday at 6 a.m. Woo!
All right. I
Now
believe we're going to hate drummers now.
Hate drummers.
We're going to hate drummers. Oh, shit, I'm going first.
Aye.
Well, my part's going to be really, really, really quick because I have only one.
One and done?
I only have one. And this was really tough. I thought, I can't really think of anybody. You know, there are people who I just kind of like, that I just don't rate, that I just don't care about one way or the other. But people who just like, I'm just like, ugh. And then I thought of one person. This is the person I used to really like until time goes on and you kind of start to see things a little bit more clearly.
I know who this is.
And I started not to like the person as well as time went on. I get the feeling that Tommy knows where I'm
I
headed.
think I know where you're going with this.
A lot of people love this person, a lot of people hate this person, and a lot of people would consider it trendy to hate this person. But, you know, sometimes if you have a really hot pan, anybody who puts their hands on it, you know,
Might get burned.
yeah. Lars Ulrich.
I knew it.
Yeah, Lars Ulrich. And you know, it's just I didn't when I was into Metallica during the first 3 albums, I thought he was amazing, and that's because those records were amazing, and he really did do a great job on those records. And I kind of started to realize how shitty he was when he got older. And just, well, I mean, you know, the music is shittier too, but his playing just became just so, like, I just didn't realize, I guess is what it's down to. I kind of had to grow into, like, oh, this is what's happening. Oh, I didn't realize. I just thought this was all amazing when I was a kid. I really didn't know. Like, I don't really think Kirk Hammett's that great of a lead guitar player.
He's actually
and I
not.
thought he was absolutely amazing.
He's actually not.
In 1984, I might have even put him on my guitarist list if you'd asked me in 1984.
Yeah.
You know, but now I'm like, no. no. Yeah, Lars.
Yeah.
That's kind of all I have, because I wasn't gonna put fucking Meg White on my list or something, you know, and I was gonna do that shit, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do you do, you know?
I feel you, man.
Yeah.
I feel you.
So, all right, Tommy.
All right, over to me. So I have 2 runners up, and I have a worst of. So my first runner up for worstest, I've got the Catman, Peter Criss. I mean,
Definitely the worst drummer in Kiss.
they just this guy's a clown. He was overrated in the 70s when he was at his peak, when he was in his prime. He was overrated.
They were giving him like drummer of the year in, you know,
Which is
magazine
just
polls and all that shit.
silliness.
Yeah, I never
Just
understood
But that was a
silliness.
popularity contest. That wasn't
Of course
about.
it was. Yeah, it was popular. Those things always are popularity
Yeah.
contests. The proof is you could see when they start bringing in session drummers to replace him on certain recordings, and they didn't miss a beat when he was out. They improved as a band when they got somebody who was more competent behind the drums.
Who's the guy that you said in your...
Eric Carr.
Eric Carr, yeah. But what's the guy with the blonde hair?
Eric Singer.
Singer.
Who's also fantastic.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's great.
Well, the unfortunate thing, Eric Singer is kind of unfortunate because for the most of the time he's been in Kiss, he's not been free to play his style in the way he's capable of playing.
No.
Yeah.
He's been forced to dumb himself down to Peter Criss.
Right.
And
yeah. Well, I mean, they brought Eric Singer in to replace Eric Carr because Eric Carr was dying.
Yeah, so there was an album or two there where he was
the
being
Revenge
stuff,
era.
But for the
and ever since
most
then,
of the time he's been in the band.
Yeah, and he's been having to portray the Catman.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to fault the dude for taking the gig.
No.
But yeah, getting back to Peter Criss, it's just like I never understood the whole Peter Criss thing. It's just like he just seems like some guy who just kind of stumbled into greatness somehow. Like he just accidentally landed in something that was successful.
He's the Cosmo Kramer.
Kind of, yeah. And if he hadn't been fortunate enough to audition for Kiss at the time he did, and if Kiss hadn't been fortunate enough to make it, he would have never heard of Peter Criss. He would never have gone anywhere. He would have just schlepped around in one band after another in New York City until eventually he just stopped playing drums, and that would have been it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But my next on my list is a guy who has tons of technical ability. I just find him boring as piss. Mike Portnoy. Now, Mike Portnoy is an example of the negative things that have come out of Neil Peart's influence, where you have people who superficially take things from Neil and say, well, it sounds like all he's doing is just overplaying everywhere. I'm going to just do that too. It's not what Neil's really doing. That's not what Rush is. If you superficially, if you just look at it wrong, it might seem like, well, he's just doing fills throughout the whole. It's not what's happening.
Yeah.
But Mike Portnoy, like you listen to his work with Dream Theater, and it's just yawn-inducing. And just to see this guy live, it's like, yeah, he's doing a lot of really wild shit, but it's like it's just boring to watch. It's just boring to watch Mike Portnoy. Another example of somebody who's boring as shit to watch, Jason Bonham. So watching Jason Bonham play, who I didn't want to put on my worst over least favorite list because I don't want to really dump on Jason Bonham too much, but I did see Jason Bonham live, and he's back there, and yeah, he's technically doing all the parts, but he's back there and he's just like, I'm like, you look like you give a shit.
He doesn't have to.
I know.
That's the thing. That's the problem.
But my actual number one is Lars Ulrich. Now, I want to talk a little. I was
before you go on. As I was doing mine, and you're like, I'm thinking, okay. I don't know if he has it on his list or if I couldn't tell if you really agreed or if you really disagreed.
Yeah, I really actually fought it. I didn't want to do it because it has become a thing on the internet. Everyone's like, Lars sucks. I'm on the internet. My opinion matters. Lars sucks. And it's like everywhere. And it's like, it just seems like I'm phoning in a list by saying Lars. But when you actually stop and think about it, there's a valid reason for this, okay? And when you listen to the first 3 Metallica records, which I think we are in agreement are the good Metallica records. Yeah. He's doing some really interesting shit. He's doing some unorthodox shit, stuff that you wouldn't really have thought that a metal drummer would do, but it really totally works with that material. I really can't picture the first 3 Metallica records with some other drummer's fill, some other drummer's crash accents, the whole 9 yards. I don't really think it would work quite as well. He peaked by his own admission during the And Justice for All era as far as being a technical drummer. He says he was drilling down like crazy and putting so much work into just being as technically proficient as he possibly could. And you listen to what he's doing on that record, and it is pretty wild. I don't like that album. I think And Justice for All is actually a pile of shit. It's riff salad. It's meandering mess. It's completely unfocused, and the mix sucks. But if you look at footage from like 87, 88, 89 era, when they're touring on that material, Lars is killing it. Lars is fucking killing it back there. I mean, he really is absolutely killing it back there. What happened is, he said that he felt that was, and I'm paraphrasing a lot here, but he did talk about this stuff in interviews where he talks about how that took so much work and so much effort that it wasn't enjoyable for him. And he didn't want to keep doing that. He didn't want to keep pushing and pushing and pushing to be the most technical player possible. And he said he preferred to just lean back and just worry about groove and interpreting James's riffs and working on song arrangements and yada yada. Whatever the fuck his justifications are, he has gotten worse noticeably over time because of this. He is lazy. He phones it in. He can't play his own old shit properly.
Yeah.
And it's kind of unfortunate. Honestly, it's frustrating to see that.
Well, I think one of the things, too, is that Metallica's music changed, and that's kind of what exposed him. It's like, once he's forced to play these other kinds of music, you realize, oh, he can't do it.
Uh-huh.
He just can't do that. This thing he was doing initially that he got known for, he was able to kill that when he was doing it, but as the band kind of moves, he can't follow him.
No.
Yeah.
No, it's really unfortunate. Now, as far as, people dump on him a lot personality-wise. I've never met the man. I'm sure he's a lot. I'm sure he's extra as fuck. But I doubt he's actually a bad dude. He might be actually a pretty cool guy if you got to know him.
He's just obnoxious.
He seems obnoxious, but then you also see shit that it's like, this guy might be all right. Like, you see, footage of him at Metallica shows, new shows, recent concerts, and, he'll, call kids up from the crowd and have them, sit right on his floor tom while he's playing. He's looking back and, he'll, fist bump and everything like that. It's like, this dude, he does legitimately seem like he's enjoying the hell out of what he's doing. He seems like he just is genuinely a fan and passionate. But he's just fucking lazy. He's lazy. He peaked, and then he's like, no, this is too much effort. I'm going to spend the next couple decades just getting gradually worse.
I'm just going to coast.
Yeah, and I gotta throw shade on him for that. I have to. So I know he's the internet's favorite whipping boy, but I have to do it.
But that's the thing. It's for a reason. It's not like, there are certain people, kind of like how when people pile on Ringo, it's just because they read it somewhere on the internet, so that's what you do. And there are people who probably only dump on Lars for that reason. But if you know what's what and you go into it, you go,
there's something behind this.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's me. Sorry to take up so much oxygen in the room here. Crystal, over to you.
That's okay. I thought about putting Lars on my list, but I really don't care.
That's the best of all. You know what?
That is the best.
I don't even care about him.
That is fucking fantastic.
I don't really care about him because, the first 3 albums were the best. And as I've said a million times, these guys are way more into this music than I am, because when it comes to Metallica, I had those 3 albums, but I'm a hits person. And I like the songs that everybody else hates, like Enter Sandman.
One.
What
about The Unforgiven?
Oh, don't be a dick. Don't.
Do I like that song? I don't like that song. No.
I hope not.
No, I like Enter Sandman because I like singing it. But anyhow, I couldn't put him on my list. A person that I will put on a separate list of I like and I don't like at the same time is Dave Grohl. Now, he was great for that band that he was in. What was it called? Nirvana. He was great in Nirvana, and he did what he needed to do for that, and that was fantastic. What I also like about him is that he's pretty open about how he does stuff and his influences and all that. And this is something, once again, I had read in a very old interview where he basically said, man, I ripped off the best. I stole from Tony Thompson. I stole from this person. I stole from that person.
Yes, I saw that.
It's like the opening of, Early in the Morning. Yeah, that was the opening of Teen Spirit. So I was like, oh, shit. And then in my head, I'm listening. I was like, oh, my God, that's right. So whenever I get into a conversation with my white guy friends who are all musicians, once again, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm an idiot. What do you know about music, kind of thing. And I'm saying, this came out of his mouth.
He says himself.
He said it himself.
There's an interview I saw recently where he talks about specifically the Tony Thompson thing, and then he says how he actually met Tony Thompson and said,
and told him,
and I've been ripping you off my whole career. And Tony Thompson apparently said, I know.
I know you have, motherfucker. Cut me a check, bitch.
That is priceless.
So he's like a separate category. I enjoy the guy,
Yeah, it's a complicated thing because he's a good drummer, but
Oh, yeah, he really
but
is.
he's
Yeah.
less Dave Grohl in the world, please. Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, like once again, like separating his personal life from what he does.
Oh well,
as a
that's
musician
not
lately, which
not
is a
even
bummer.
not even.
But anyway,
Still good.
I will say that probably the worst drummer for me would be Mo Tucker from the Velvet Underground.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Now again, this is another thin line for me because
Yeah, that's
just
fair.
like Meg White, she's an outsider, you know, coming in and doing this thing and is very primitive, if you will. But the longer the band went on, which wasn't forever, obviously, she never got better. To me.
Yeah. Well, it's also another one of those where she's exactly the right
Person for that.
doing exactly the right thing for that band.
Because you get a band with, you know, a violin player and Lou Reed and this chick, and it's like, what the fuck else is it going to be? And it's put together by Andy Warhol? I mean, come on. So you got some German chanteuse, all tomorrow's parties. Yeah.
Oh, fucking
Yeah.
that monster Nico.
Yeah, Nico.
Oof.
So that's, you know, my worst is Mo Tucker.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've seen her live, and she's my worst.
Believe it or not, I was in a band that opened for a band she was in. Yeah.
Yikes.
It was. I don't even remember what the band was even like, except for that she was doing the exact same thing. She had the drum turned on
Yep.
on its side. Like she had the exact same setup and was just like riding on the floor, or she was riding on the kick, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, just that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, oh my god, you're Mo Tucker, but
you're like,
what's
my
actually
God.
going on is kind of like, well,
Who cares?
Mo
I guess.
Tucker.
it worked in the Velvet Underground, but
Nowhere else.
you can't really step
Can't
outside those parameters.
do
there, you know?
anything. Yeah. And also for people who don't know, Paul is a drummer by trade, sort of.
Not
sort
really.
of, not yeah. So he was in a band called Persephone's Bees for a while and toured the world, and he's a really great drummer.
I'm totally John Bonham. No. That's why I'm wearing this shirt.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to talk about my drumming.
No, but you know what you're talking about because you're a drummer.
I mean, the thing about that, though, it's kind of like, there's a story about, there's a story, Paul McCartney, he was making his Press to Play album. And, which is kind of a weak album from 1986. It's generally considered one of his weak records. And he was in the middle of the sessions, and the guy he was working with kind of got real with him, was like, these aren't really some of your best songs, are they? And McCartney goes, oh yeah? How many number ones have you had? And it's like, yeah, but
this is
but see, it's the thing, it doesn't really matter that you've had number ones or that you're this great like, you just, anybody who listens to this knows whether this is good or not.
Yeah.
You know if it's good or not. Just when you know a good song. If you've never written a song in your life, you know if a song is good or not. And it's just,
Yeah.
So I guess all that is to say that, I mean, yeah, I play drums, but that doesn't mean I know better than other people whether or not Ringo's any good or,
I think you kind of do.
You kind of do, though.
You kinda do.
I think you're not giving yourself enough credit here.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
oh, before we move on, by the way, I want to do two things before we move on. I cannot believe I forgot to do this, but I forgot to shout out to Max Weinberg, and I forgot to shout out to Liberty DeVito. And normally when we do these shows, if you forget to put somebody on your list, you'd be like, oh, I forgot to put so, or you just don't even bother bringing it up. I cannot believe I overlooked those two names, so I cannot let this episode
let it pass.
end without mentioning Max and Liberty.
I
have to
mentioned
mention
Max,
them.
I forgot Liberty.
You did mention, but I
Yeah.
gotta give props to both of those guys. And the other thing, before we move on from the hate segment, we have an opportunity that we all did not take, okay? To hate on somebody that has somehow been managed to mention in two other musician shows that we did.
Really?
Yes.
Who that is?
He qualifies for this too, for he was in fact originally the drummer in Susie and the Banshees, and that would be Sid Vicious. Sid Vicious just managed to, on a technicality, wind up on the worst drummers list.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot all about that. Yeah.
So I'm just going to go ahead and add him as a tack on to each of our
Now it's a
3 lists.
Well, okay, while we're adding people, I'm adding Madonna to my list.
Oh, that's right. She
was. A drummer.
Yeah.
That's right.
And Belinda Carlisle, too.
Oh, Dottie Danger? Yeah. The Germs, yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, she was in the Germs on drums for a week, and then she got, I think, mono, and then she had to quit.
Mono. We're making out with one of the guys in the band.
Probably.
Yeah.
We were all better off in
If
the
you
end.
step in the same room with the Germs, I'm sure mono is just
The least of your worries.
That'd be the one you want to choose. If you can choose.
Well, yeah, I guess the thing you would want to come away with is mono out of all the
yeah.
possible. Yeah.
Because, you know, she was a dirty bird when she was young, that Belinda.
Oh, she was trouble.
Oh,
Yeah,
those girls.
Oh, yeah.
I told you about those videos.
Girl's got to live there.
She's a bad girl.
All right. All right, let's go to a commercial. Huh?
Levi's 501 different drummer. How'd you start playing the drums on a bucket?
Well, I ain't have nothing else to do, so I just started banging.
What were you banging on?
Like tin cans. I used to play on them first. I tried the bucket one day and see it got more sound.
Do you play anything else besides the bucket?
Yes. I could play like bottles. I could play big round garbage cans.
Now, what do you do with your foot when you lift it up? What does that do?
That's the bass to bring in more sound.
Who are your idols?
Max Roach.
You ever meet any of them?
Not yet.
You know who this is?
No.
This is Max Roach.
You said in the newspaper article that you could learn something from me and I could learn something from you.
Uh-oh.
Now, you fly button?
Yeah, it's button.
All right. Thank you for watching. We're back from our okay, let me start that again.
Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. Let me add another terrible drummer, Richard Pryor. So for those of you who don't know this, there's an episode of the Merv Griffin Show from the 70s. Sly Stone is the guest. It's very uncomfortable interviews and weird. He's stoned out of his mind.
Yeah.
And Richard Pryor is also on this show. So Sly's going to do a musical segment. He has a piano and a drum kit up on a riser. And he's like, oh, man, my drummer didn't show up today, blah, blah, blah. And Richard Pryor's like, yeah, I can play drums. Yeah, sure, I can do it. And he gets up there, and Sly's like, 1, 2, 3, 4. And Richard's like, kadoom, ba doo doo, psh, ga 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 ga. And he's like, Richard, you said you could play drums, Richard. Come on now, Richard. And he gets up and he's stomping around and yelling, and he's like, shut up, chump. I didn't say I could play the drums. Fuck you. Ah. And they get into this huge argument, and it's hilarious. Look for that on YouTube. It's hysterical. Yeah.
Aye.
Good.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching our drummers lists. And I
so
guess
we've conquered. Oh, wait a minute. We haven't done piano players.
Well, I was going to say this probably concludes our favorite players because I'm thinking we don't want to do like a keyboardist or a piano. I mean, I guess we could do piano players, but I mean, do we want to work our way down to where we're doing our top 10 favorite triangulists? I'm not that I'm saying keyboards and piano is down. I'm just I don't know. I don't know how deep we want to go in.
I mean, I don't know. Can we get to slide whistle? Can we get to?
Oh my God. All right, forget I mentioned it. So anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure that you tell your friends and you leave comments. We appreciate your list. They're fucking awesome.
And your list.
And your list. And, follow. And don't forget to ring that bell. Ding-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling. So you get your notifications.
Right.
So that's it for this. What are we doing next week?
Well, next week, we are going to be ranking the albums of Aerosmith. So get your wings and come back on Thursday for that.
Yeah!
All right. We'll see you then.
Okay.
All right.
Look at us.
All right.
Look at us.
We look awesome.
Right there. We're doing it.
Hot.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Meow.
What happened?
We can keep that running. I knew I was worried I was going to forget about my drummers to put
Uh-oh. Some drummists.
Drummists, yes, drummists.
or my other least favorite, drum players.
Drum players.
I hate that. Oh, you're a drum player? Yeah, that's how it's said.
When I was a kid, maybe about junior high, I knew a guy who used to refer to them as drummists.
Drummists, yeah.
And for some reason, I'd never corrected him. I would just kind of silently cringe.
Drummist is the dumbest.
Dumbest.
Drum players is the one that probably annoys me the most. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anything.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Okay, all right.
Sorry.
3, 2, 1.
Well, all right!